The ongoing changes at HBO Max might just have broken the hearts of Game of Thrones fans all over the world. And let's just say that the recovery isn't going to be easy. Why? Well, because George R.R. Martin himself confirmed that some major projects have been shelved. Martin updated his readers in a recent blog post on his Not a Blog. He announced that he was working diligently on many projects at HBO. He also reassured fans that he was writing The Winds of Winter, but that's where the good news stops. As it usually happens, some of his projects are progressing faster than the others. Sadly, though, none of them have been approved just yet.
For all these people from Westeros and Essos with the weird names.
And to make matters worse, a couple of GOT projects have actually been shelved. It's pretty reassuring to see that the author hasn't lost all hope, though. Martin himself says that it's not as easy to cancel a project as it seems. He further talked about HBO's management changes and how that is affecting projects. After all, during the time the original show was being aired, the environment at HBO was very different in comparison to today.
Work from you, we'll just take the maps in the book and blow them up. You'll say, ooh, that would be a good idea. You'll give me.
Since then, Discovery has made a number of contentious decisions, including the cancellation of several HBO Max projects. Game of Thrones is easily HBO's most popular series of all time. It's not surprising to see them still trying to make money off of it through spin-offs.
Yeah, there are days I wonder if I bit off more than I can chew.
So it's pretty unfortunate to see that the show may not hold the same power that it once did. I mean, can you imagine how cool these spin-offs could have been? If you can't, let's get into the details of it all. There were rumors that 2 Game of Thrones spin-offs were canceled by HBO after being taken off the production website's schedules. And if we choose to believe in rumors, one of these spin-offs,
television is full of channels that I have no interest in.
Definitely had a lot of potential. Why? Because it's a prequel centered on a House of the Dragon figure. I'm talking about Corlys Velaryon. Played by Steve Toussaint in House of the Dragon, Corlys would be the main character of the Sea Snake. And as for the second project, according to rumors, it was going to be focused on an aspect of the story that hasn't been explored much yet. The protagonist of the spin-off titled 10,000 Ships would be the renowned warrior Nymeria, known for guiding her people away from the Dragon Lords of Valyria. Of course, none of this might be happening.
I might have caught this.
Both 10,000 Ships and the Sea Snake may be canceled because they would transport viewers far from Westeros. And to be very honest, that would have been a big gamble, no matter how interesting they would have made them. But here's one project that I really hope isn't canceled: the Jon Snow spin-off. There are a lot of unanswered mysteries from the original show. And guess what? They can be resolved thanks to a Jon Snow Game of Thrones spin-off. The conclusion of Game of Thrones Season 8 left viewers disappointed. Even now, years later, many are still in shock. I mean, Daenerys was killed by Jon Snow, after which he returned to the Night's Watch. Pretty underwhelming. There is optimism that Jon might get the happy ending he deserves.
For quite a long time, being nominated for Hugos and Nebulas, each novel that I wrote got a bigger advance and more publicity.
Only if fans are interested in watching how that plays out, it would mostly focus on Jon and his journey back past the Wall. Still, a story set in Westeros and the surrounding region may shed light on a number of issues. They would include Bran's rule, followed by the consequences of Daenerys' passing and the specifics of the main characters' lives. It's unclear if the Jon Snow spin-off is still in production or if it's been put on hold. Kit Harington was positive that the Game of Thrones spin-off might happen as late as November.
Things that are not part of the actual medieval world and yet have been part of the world.
It's directly related to Game of Thrones and might help the writers salvage the series. They'll be playing it safe with this show. To be very honest, it could turn out to be an easy win for HBO. Now that the sad news is out of the way, let's talk about The Winds of Winter. Winds of Winter is a novel that George is currently working on. He sounded a bit tense talking about it and declared that his head may explode from all the workload. I get you, George. I totally get it. But let's talk about what made him say that. This year, 2023, will be our 12th year without The Winds of Winter. The TV show moved faster than the books, so this novel and its sequel relied on the plans for the show. But the show's been over for a while now, too. So any more delays are just sad at this point. It's already been too long. George R.R. Martin disclosed that he was 75% done with what would be a very large book. He talked about some of the problems he's facing with the novel, and also gave some intriguing plot teases. He said that he took a few days off for the holidays on his blog, then later continued that he was back to writing and working on so many gruesome things that he feels like his head might explode. It's been so long since the show ended that I'm growing more and more impatient. You probably have the same feeling as well, but it must be stressful for the poor guy. Keeping the long wait in mind, George has done something for us. He released some chapters. Point of view chapters are a common literary device. Usually when writers use this style, a different character's perspective is used to tell the story in each chapter. The book's main characters have several chapters each, as in this case. The point of view of minor characters will probably just be used for the prologue and epilogue. Then, unlike the major characters, these characters won't receive a second chapter. 11 chapters from the novel's preview have been made available or read aloud by Martin. And we have the names as well. The names are Theon, Victarion, Tyrion, Arion, Barristan 1, Barristan 2, and to add to those, you have Tyrion 2, Mercy, Elaine, Arion 2, and the Forsaken. Arya, Hota, and Cersei Lannister will also feature in the book as POV characters.
On your website.
No, probably not.
In addition to the characters whose chapters have already been published. If this doesn't get you excited, I honestly don't know what will. Bran Stark will also be in the book, which seems like it should go without saying. He also seems like a good candidate to be the POV character again. In 2016, the author seemed to imply that Melisandre might once again have her own chapters. But the leak that happened in the most hilarious way possible was when Martin appeared to be writing a chapter for Asha Greyjoy in a photograph of him at his computer. I'm already so excited. We know he's having a tough time giving the novel enough attention, but the main question still remains: when can it be released?
Too. I believe I'm quite content as a spectator. Thank you.
Only another 400-500 pages of the book remain after finishing the first 1,100 to 1,200 pages. Without a calculator, it appears that there is only about 40% of the book remaining to write. Martin hasn't yet provided a concrete date or even a range of possibilities. On the day that he submits the finished manuscript to his publisher, he will likely post a notice on his blog. Given how active he is there, he can't not do that. So that's that.
Gun spoiled. Saves my head from a spike.
Syrax is growing quickly.
Just as Jon Snow knew nothing, we also unfortunately know nothing about the release date as of now. All we can hope for is that it comes out as soon as possible. The spin-offs also sounded terrific. What a shame about the cancellation. Thanks for watching.
Princess Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra Targaryen.
Men would sooner put